Good morning, entrepreneurs. You are tuned into the Non-Corporate Network. You are watching Entreprenews. If you're wondering what is the Non-Corporate Network, well, it is the worldwide leader in entrepreneurship, Dustin. That's what it is. And yeah, we are happy to be here. Welcome if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us or listening to us on podcasts, wherever you get them. Thank you for being with us. Entreprenews is a quick hitting format here. We debate the top 6 trending small business stories for 3 minutes each. Dustin, do you have anything you want to add to my glorious intro?
Great intro. I come in with better perspective and usually get the W's and walk away with the title. And about all I got to say.
Yeah, he was looking down. For those of you not watching on video, he was looking down and to the left, indicating that is in fact a lie. And so, yeah, I've got some data to back just about everything I talk about on here, including my wins.
Awesome. Well, you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Well, with our first story, HR professionals using electronic signature technology, 2,500% more than pre-COVID. COVID is the main purpose for this. It allows people to sign legal documents on their phone, their tablet, or their computer, so they could sign remote. Overall, it's creating a better process for the business and for the end consumer as well. And so there's a reduction in overhead because you have less paperwork, less things going on. So it's a more efficient process overall. On top of that, I mean, from a sustainability perspective, I mean, obviously it helps with the reduction in paper. All that being said, there's still a vast majority of businesses that are using paper, even though the adoption is picking up. So really the question is, Chaz, I mean, should more businesses be jumping on and investing into this? Or we've been talking a lot about data breaches and data security. I mean, is this the next threat?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple of things to unpack here. One, all I got to do is draw a straight line across the keypad at the grocery store, and it registers my signature. So it doesn't give me a whole lot of faith that this electronic signature thing is actually being taken seriously. You can adopt a templated signature. And so these are risks to me that don't necessarily validate that I am the person that's signing those. So I think that another classic case of we didn't do enough on the front end and there's going to be an issue on the back end that we got to figure out. And so I think that there needs to be a little bit more validation of the person being who they say they are. You can forward a DocuSign to somebody and they can sign it as you very easily. So I think there's a risk there. And the other thing is this technology isn't very defensible either. I mean, there's a lot of vendors coming out with technology that does this, whether it's CRMs that are adding this document signing feature. And so I think that, it needs to be taken a little more seriously from a security standpoint. But yeah, definitely nothing new and already a very saturated place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a huge fan of digitization, but I mean, you bring up a couple points that definitely need to take a look at. I mean, I think overall, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Like I said, sustainability, it helps on the cost perspective. I mean, there's a lot of benefits from it, but I mean, to your point, we don't know what the risks are, and it's only a matter of time before they start happening as this happens more, and then it'll go to court, and then precedences will be set. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I've seen more and more. I mean, recently bought a house over a year ago, but I mean, through that process, had to do more, take a picture with my license and different forms of identification. And then what I had to sign had to be signed within like 20 minutes, stuff like that. So, I mean, there are added security features that are coming, and I think it's only a matter of time. But it's gone are the days where we have the filing cabinets full of papers. I mean, that's kind of archaic. And so, excited to see what happens.
Yeah, no, I think it'll definitely become more of a standard.
Absolutely. So going on to our next story, TikTok, always on Entreprenews. So they're committing over $100 million in ad credits to small business. Any business can apply. The first $300 they'll just give you to spend on their platform. From there, they'll match you dollar for dollar up to $2,000. So really, you can get a credit of up to $2,300. By testing the waters with TikTok. They also have a free creative suite where you can go and upload videos and photos and edit them. So you don't need Adobe or graphic design skills. So they're making the ability to edit or produce the creative much easier, plus giving you ad dollars to take that creative and run it for ads. As of right now, there are 800 million users, and there have been over 2 billion downloads overall. I mean, should businesses be jumping in, or what are your thoughts on them just giving out $100 million? It's a lot of money.
It reminds me of Hillary Clinton running for president while also simultaneously being indicted. I don't understand. TikTok is already been said that it will be banned at the end of September if a US company doesn't buy it. That's still on the table. So I don't understand why we're dropping $100 million to small business credits on top of just burning cash, bro. Just burning it. There's ad campaigns all over the place. And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this means that the writing is on the wall, that they're trying to boost their user base up going into an acquisition. Obviously, China is not very happy about how we've handled the situation. And so we thought that they weren't going to be bullish on the US acquisition partners. So I think there's just it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I guess we can kind of look at this from a 30,000 foot perspective and see kind of the broad chess moves that are happening. But it's very interesting to me. But, I guess good for small businesses if it helps them. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just another, if it's free money, I mean, as much as we talk bad about TikTok and what they do with data, I mean, from a business perspective, there's going to be a lot that you can target. So, I mean, this could be a good opportunity to get your hands dirty in, an ad platform and see how it works. I mean, they're all kind of similar. And so,
well, it's a nice way to be able to pull $100 million out of thin air, because it's not like they're incurring an expense by giving those credits out. It's more about incentivizing people to use their product. But even still, it's just kind of aren't you guys on the chopping block right now? And we're investing all this money in.
Yeah, no, that's what it comes down to. I mean, they know some company's going to buy them. And so what they're trying to do is just create tons of new customer acquisition and go, look at how much money is being spent. Look at how much all this is worth. They're pumping up their valuation. I mean, by throwing 100 million into it and having more users spend dollars, and they can boost those numbers up and ask for another couple $100 million or billion or whatever that number looks like. But they know it's inevitable. They're going to have to sell. So might as well do what you can to increase that valuation.
Yeah, true.
Yep. So going on to our next story here in Arizona. So Arizona has issued more than $10 billion in unemployment benefits since March 7th. This accounts for unemployment insurance, unemployment assistance, federal pandemic unemployment compensation, lost wages assistance as well. And so Arizona became the first state to actually offer the lost wage assistance, which they started doing that last week, and it accounted for about $252 million of that $10 billion. All that being said, fraud is being combated right now. I mean, across the nation, but here locally, since March 7th, there have been hundreds of thousands of cases open to try and investigate some of these fraud cases. And really, I mean, that's can only imagine the cost that goes into investigating 100,000. I mean, you got man hours, there's a lot of cost in there. I mean, should the government be doing a better job at, trying to identify that on the front end rather than back end? And if so, that's probably going to cause a delay in people getting their money. And so how do you balance that to try and prevent the fraud, but also get people the money that they need to keep the economy going?
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of like you have your cake and eat it too here. I mean, it's kind of difficult, but what I will say is that the actual application process is probably not doing as well as it should in terms of vetting people. As you mentioned, when it comes to buying a house and you have to show multiple forms of identification, things like that are just not a part of the application process as it relates to unemployment. And so, there's probably a lot of ways that you can put a scheme together or get or pull a fast one on, these archaic systems that exist with the floppy disks and all of the old computer hardware that they're using. I mean, these government contracts to pick up the software builds for these products don't incentivize innovation. They don't incentivize a whole lot of security measures. And just because of that, the nature of the way that they build these things and how they acquire the right systems, I think that they're setting themselves up to have this problem. So it doesn't surprise me at all that the amount of fraud that there is. And as you mentioned, it's a time value of money. And is the damage going to be done by the time that they recover this money back? When you talk about litigation and everything else to find the people that committed fraud, can't imagine the fraud department at the state office is a huge department. And so, you got 10 people working on 100,000 cases. Like, how long does it take you to get through all that? So, but do you increase the tax dollars? Do you just rely on solving it on the back end so you don't have to put as much emphasis on building it out? I think that regardless, the way that the stimulus worked with Triple P, it was like they gave a distribution and then they kind of looked at it and went, what happened? What was wrong? Let's fix it. Here, like it doesn't seem like they're doing that. They're just like, well, we're just going to keep being reactionary because we don't have time to plan because now we have too much work.
Yep.
It's difficult. Well, before we get into our next story, I want to mention that we are powered by State 48, clothing for all inspired by Arizona. They got some sweet fits there. Dustin, anything you want to mention about State 48?
Yeah, no, they're doing a lot for the community. New website out. They got new stuff available for ASU, U of A. I mean, they're doing quite a bit. Check them out, state48.com.
Don't worry about buying any of the U of A stuff. All right, getting into our next story. Amazon just pulled some PR Juijitsu again. They've come out and lobbied for the Consumer Protections Act that is going to help validate that third-party sellers are who they say they are. They're selling products they say they're selling. I think that this is... I'm very opinionated about this one, Dustin. I'll say that. But essentially, the way that this bill works, it would make Amazon responsible for its third-party sellers, a much more expensive proposition than doing nothing. As with Facebook and Google, regulators are increasingly scrutinizing Amazon for the physical content on its platform. I mean, we saw in the antitrust hearing that this was an issue. And so I think that, it's kind of like they're killing three birds with one stone here, right? They have created this kind of virtuous name of this bill that they're lobbying for that protects consumers. And then you look at it and it's also simultaneously killing their competition and making their competition of Etsy and eBay incur a whole lot more cost, be a whole lot less profitable. And it mitigates a lot of the risk of the legislation or the lawsuits that they could be liable for as it relates to making sure these products aren't knockoffs and that third-party sellers are validated. And so, I think it's kind of a genius proposition on their end. Yeah. But Dustin, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, genius proposition on their end. I mean, they got to do everything you can to mitigate risk, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that are the marketplace. They're the ones that should be doing, the deep dives into who are selling on their platform. All they're going to do is open it up to where there's going to be a ton of fake merchandise hitting the markets because there's no it doesn't fall on Amazon. There's no risk on Amazon. So it's gonna happen. That's gonna hurt the consumer in the end you're gonna hurt the big brands that people are knocking off. I mean, it's there's just a lot that isn't gonna be good if Amazon gets their way in this.
Well, the whole thing, and we talk about antitrust, and so the whole idea is that companies that don't have physical inventory, companies that rely on these third-party sellers are gonna be the ones that are hit the hardest, which lo and behold, is one of Amazon's biggest competition areas. And so you start hurting Etsy, you start hurting eBay, that's extreme anti-competitive behavior if I've ever seen any. And they're doing so in a virtuous way that kind of convinces consumers that they're protected. Now, all of a sudden, they're the winners here, but they're also like, they just got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, Dustin. And now 5 minutes later, it's back in the cookie jar. And we're going to be applauding them for it. Yeah. Like, I think it's
one thing that's always interesting is how they name these bills. It's always like Protect the Consumer Act and all that. And it makes you feel good. But when you start looking at it, it's like, man, it's completely taken all the risk away from Amazon and onto someone else. And it's not going to lead to anything good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it does show that we're trying to do a better job of reducing those knockoffs and things. But yeah, it's just, I think there's ways to do it that don't favor Amazon as much as this seems to. Okay, getting into our next story, tons of startups are trying to turn streaming into social media. Essentially companies like Netflix, HBO Max, Quibi, Peacock, they're all trying to turn their products into social media friendly products. A company called Bingy is streaming answers to Goodreads. You can add the TV shows you're watching, send recommendation links to friends, start chats about specific shows, and create watch parties with your friends on your streaming like platform of choice. And so, I think it's an interesting concept. Obviously, we talked about this in the last episode about how Netflix being able to integrate themselves a little bit more into social media-esque type of platforms, enhance the kind of user interaction, could be something beneficial to them. Dustin, what do you think about this new trend? All these businesses that are coming out of the woodwork. We're seeing that even companies like Fortnite are cutting into Netflix share in terms of the interoperability of the users being able to spend more time there in other ways besides just playing the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. It's innovating. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how the UI UX and all that looks, because I mean, there is something to be said. Social media has gotten so big. I mean, it's what, half of the world is on a social media platform, and the other half just doesn't
4 billion people
have internet access or something. Yep. So I mean, people want to connect, and right now it's all through news and images and all that. This is going to be the next wave of social media. I haven't done it, but there's all those watch parties where you can go and watch something and engage. But it's like, how are you going to not take attention away from the content that is being consumed? And I think that's what is going to be hard. And are you going to get trolls that come in there and start disrupting it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think, the way that the world has gone in terms of connection and social media, I think this is the next wave of it. And I think
I'm not super bullish on this. I mean, we saw what happened when Spotify tried to create a social media network around their products and have people following each other. And I mean, and same with SoundCloud. I mean, that it hasn't done amazing. The businesses aren't extremely profitable on those specific features. And so I think that it's almost more of a cumbersome consumer experience when you start trying to add layers on top of somebody just wants to listen to music. Here, I think somebody just wants to watch a show, and they don't necessarily want to do it with 5 other people. And so I'm not super bullish on this whole trend, and I don't think it'll be here for long. I think as VR and AR become a little bit more adopted and a little bit more advanced, that's going to be a much better option for doing these types of things than having, because I mean, right now you're looking at your phone while you're watching TV anyway. So.
And this might be the stepping stone to that, as you get people actually watching content together when VR and AR become more of a reality and more widely adopted. Now you have that same sense of watching things together, now sitting next to each other. So it's let's get things started and having people watch content together, and then we'll
see what happens. I mean, in terms of this trend, it's going to evolve for sure. As technology evolves. Well, getting into our last story, University of Arizona said it caught a dorm's COVID-19 outbreak before it started its secret weapon analyzing the wastewater in the dorms. So this is something that, some view as an invasion of privacy. But they, like I said, they found that there was an outbreak at this specific dorm room, Lickens Hall. And, I think that it's interesting. I mean, there's a gentleman by the name of Kevin Thomas. He's director of University of Queensland Alliance for Environmental Health Studies. He said the proof there is that it works. And it does seem to be a very sensitive approach, but it's a proactive way of trying to manage potential infection. We've seen a lot of colleges that have actually been very affected by this and actually had to go fully remote because in the first 2 weeks back to school, they had tremendous amounts of outbreaks. And so, this is tough. But Dustin, do you think this is an invasion of privacy, or do you think that this is a good approach to identify? This has happened with plenty of other viruses that can be detected through wastewater. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, in a sense, it kind of is an invasion of privacy, but at the end of the day, it's it's all blended together. You can't identify someone from it. It's not like you can pinpoint certain things to someone. So, I think in the name of trying to get the world back to what it was pre-COVID, I think if it helps do that, it doesn't hurt not really consumer here, but doesn't hurt the citizens by anyway there, then I think, let's do it. I mean, if it can stop the spread and we can identify it and get back to normal, I'm all for it. But I mean, man, what a what a crappy job to be the one going through all that. I mean,
I see what you did there.
Dad joke.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and just going back to what I was talking about before with the amount of colleges that have had these outbreaks. I mean, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, like Stanford, like these are huge name universities that have shifted fully online. And so, it sucks for the student. I mean, they don't get that college experience on top of still having to pay full price. And so it's just tough, man. I think I feel for these kids that are going back to school and they're kind of getting a bad rap around, oh, you guys were the ones that did it. But there's not necessary precautions that are being taken by the universities. And there's no way of being able to be proactive. You have to be reactive in these situations if you don't have these systems set up. So that kind of seems to be the theme of today's episode is trying to find proactive approaches to eliminating problems before they arise. And, we've just seen too much of this reactive, oh crap, let me try to figure this out on the fly type of thing. And so I got to say I'm for it as well.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about tuition and all that. I mean, it's crazy that there's so much money being put into, campuses and all that. I mean, this could be a huge step in the right direction to bring college costs down if we get more remote. And I mean,
you're testing at scale too. I mean, that's really what we have to think about is you're testing at scale. And if there's a way to find more broad stroke data around, okay, there's pockets of people in our school and maybe this 5% of students are at risk, they have to stay quarantined. Like at least it's a more dynamic way of, understanding how to prevent the spread. But
yeah. What was your favorite story?
I'm looking back at them right now. There's a lot. It's crazy to me, this whole TikTok thing that's happening. I also saw that Walmart is now in the running for acquisition, partnering with Microsoft to try to put a deal together. Very interesting. Yeah. But yeah, TikTok and all the things they're doing.
100 million, it's a lot. Yeah, I know my favorite one was the HR one. I mean, a DocuSign, I think it's amazing. I hate having to print something out,
2,500% increase.
Upload it, send it. It's just inefficient. And so, but where I'm more interested in is to see how the fraud and all that is figured out. And
the writing is on the electric wall.
Yep. So.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Again, you've been watching the Non-Corporate Network, the worldwide leader in entrepreneurship. And this has been Entreprenews. If you guys want to show that you want to bring a message of what you're speaking into the world to existence, we want to help you do it. Check us out, ncnbroadcast.com. Please tell a friend about us. This is how we grow. This is how we get our message out to more people. So if you enjoyed this podcast, you enjoyed this live stream, share it with somebody. We appreciate it a whole lot. And outside of that, if you have any stories you want us to debate, we'll debate them. And I'll win just like usual. So happy to take Dustin down on his opinions on any of your stories. Just toss them in, bring them on in. Dustin, do you have anything you want to add?
I got nothing other than rolling my eyes. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you guys next week and hope you have a great weekend.
Yep. Enjoy your Friday. Peace.